YouTube. A little different than what we usually do here on this YouTube channel. Today, I am answering questions and I'm giving you guys a peek into our Patreon weekly Zoom call. Usually these are private. I figured I'd switch it up today, give you guys a little insight. I'm not sure if I'm going to leave this whole thing up or just chop them down into smaller pieces, but I'm basically just answering questions. This is a peek into our weekly call, kind of what our community looks like with the King's Dream Patreon community. I thought it'd be cool to bring in more of the public into the conversation. So anyway, we're going to have a good time, man. I got to drop the intro one time.
I don't need nothing else. Every time I'm with you, yo, it's something else. It's a fact, and it's nothing else. Got your hand out, you don't even need a help. Ooh, I don't need nothing else. Every time I'm with you, yo, it's something else. It's a fact, and it's nothing else. Got your hand out, you don't even need a help. Ooh, that's right. I don't need nothing else. That's right.
King's Dream Entertainment.
Hey, what's going on? It is Ruslan with KingsDreamENT.com. This channel exists to encourage, empower, inspire you to live out God's dream for your life. Today we're doing something a little different. We are doing a live Q&A with our Patreon community, answering their questions, having some discussion. They kind of get to lead where this goes, and I just kind of guide with some of my insights, some of my answers. So, hey, if you're watching this live, give this video a quick thumbs up. That helps a ton with the YouTube algorithms. And make sure you hit that subscribe and notification bell. So, I'm excited to be here with you guys. It is a fun Sunday. This is actually kind of becomes one of my highlights, is getting to see a lot of these people on Sunday, virtually, of course, and chopping it up with them about whatever it is that they have questions about. I enjoy this. I actually did a separate Q&A with a bunch of UK artists yesterday, and I'm going to be chopping that up and dropping it. So, good times, man. Hey, if you're watching this live, again, give this video a quick thumbs up. Let me know where you're watching this from. That helps us out a ton. And we're going to go to the Patreon community, man. We're going to see what they want to talk about with questions. We have a list of questions, but I figured the people that are here, because not everybody that asked a question is here, I figured the people that are here, we'll let them hop in, ask their question, have some good discussion. You guys get a private peek into this thing. And yeah, man, so let's see what's going on with you guys. Hopefully everybody's doing well. We have a handful of folks in here. Turn your cameras on if you can. And again, if you're watching this live, let me know where you're watching this from. That helps a ton. And we will commence. So let me know who wants to take it first in the Zoom call. I will pin you up and we will go from there. You guys all know how to use a little screen, little hand thing, with the little hand feature. We got a lot of people on YouTube, Shiverport, Louisiana, Miami, Florida. Jay Sandon, where you at? Why aren't you in a Zoom call, my G? You should hop in a Zoom call. All right. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna go to who asked the first. I got a couple questions. Bart, you here, bro? Bart's not here. Bart's here, but he's not here. Okay, let me know who wants to go first. Don't be shy. And I will, you could either throw your hand up because I can see y'all all at once, or you could use the little hand feature. All right, here we go. I'm going to go to, I think you say her name as Maya. Hopefully I say that right. Go ahead and unmute yourself, sis. Did I say your name correctly?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Awesome. So I should probably introduce myself because this is my first time ever being on the Zoom call.
And you got the first question today, so welcome.
Thank you. So my name is Maya Warren, and I'm 22, going on 23. And I'm someone who's been a singer-songwriter pretty much my entire life. And I recently got into producing a couple years ago, since I've been playing around with that. And so I'm working on just being able to create and produce music. But sometimes I find myself more focused on the little details instead of actually trying to get things out there. So I end up nitpicking more than I do producing. So I was wondering, how do you combat that?
That is a great question, because that is something that a lot of us who tend to kind of get perfectionist what the art tend to do, right? We tend to really get into the minutia, into the details. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially as you're developing. You want to know that your stuff is good. You want to pay attention to the details. You want to be deliberate. So many of us could be on the opposite extreme where we aren't being deliberate and we aren't paying attention and we aren't, you know, really looking in. And so especially as a producer, like you want to make that stuff good. What helps me is working out of a template in my DAW, if that makes sense. So in my DAW, which is Reason, I work out of a template. And not only do I work out of a template, I try to make every beat the same way. So everything has the same sequence. I have the same drum kit in there for the most part. I might tweak a sound here or there. And I work through my production in the same way all the time. So I'm trying to get from idea to execution as quickly as possible. I'm trying to go all in as quickly as possible, because what you are really after is the flow state. And I've talked a little bit about the flow state. Have you heard of the flow state, Maya?
To some degree.
Okay, so the flow state is an interesting psychological concept where you're basically tapping into this part where you're creating and everything, you kind of lose sense of time, and it feels like the creation is creating itself. It's actually really cool, and you know it when you've been there, right? You know when you're just locked in, and it could be with creating music, it could be with recording music, it could be with playing a sport. You just kind of lock in. Now, the key with the flow state is you have to make sure that it's hard enough, but it's not too hard, and that you know it well enough, but it's not too easy. If it becomes too hard, you get anxious. So the flow, you're not going to get to the flow state in education mode. So say you got a new plugin, you're trying to learn it, that you're not going to get the flow state there because it's more technical, right? And if something is too easy, you're going to lose interest. So it's like this. I wish you guys just Google it. There's a really cool chart where kind of explains it. So my advice would be, hey, how can you get to that flow state as quickly as possible? What can you do to get from idea to creation? And then once you're in creation, it'll compound on top of each other. That's from a creation standpoint. Now begs the question of releasing stuff, right? Releasing stuff. And the best thing that I've been able to do is to just give myself hard deadlines and release no matter what. So that looks like in 2011, I said, you know what? I'm going to release a song a week, no matter what. I'm going to release a song a week. And what we did is we did this thing called Remix Wednesdays. And this really kind of got me my first like sustainable income off of music. So every Wednesday, people would, well, not every Wednesday, but throughout the week, different fans would request us to do remixes of popular songs that were out. We would do it. And we would take mainstream instrumentals and we would do like our version of the song, not a cover, but just like a remix, right? Yeah. And when I announced that, I now had to deliver every Wednesday, no matter what. And sometimes it'd be like 8 p.m. on a Wednesday. I'm like scrambling to get it up. But there's something powerful about just saying you're going to do something and just going after it, right? So that's a twofold thing. So I think you have to figure out, okay, you want to release more, you want to create more, and you want to release more. You create more by getting in the flow state and figuring out systems and ways that you can optimize your creation process. You release more by giving yourself a hard deadline. Now, the caveat to this is you first have to get good enough so that you can release more. So I haven't heard any of your music yet, so I kind of don't know where you are on the spectrum. But there's like folks in this call right now, like Bats and Bartholomew Jones, that they got it. They just, their thing is literally marketing, releasing, getting in front of as many people as possible. And then there's people here in the developmental stage, and them dropping a song a week is just probably not going to be good. They'll probably put out way more mediocre art. They'll probably blow their first impression. So I think you got to find that balance for yourself. I think that's what Fan Love Friday is for. Also, commit to just putting something there every Friday, because that's also not like a official release. It's not on Spotify. It's not on Apple Music. And you could test the waters and say, well, how does the community react to your release? How does the YouTube chat react to release? We don't leave the live stream up, so it's not like it's out there in internet land. So you could literally just test the water And you'll know after a few submissions, submit something here, submit something on Rapzilla, submit a couple different places. And then you'll know like, okay, I think I'm ready to go public with this product, or I got to go back into development. I got to keep tweaking it. I got to keep refining it, right? That first impression is powerful, right? So when I say all that, like where do you feel like you are in the process? Do you feel like you're in a spot where you're ready to release stuff?
At the moment, I'm still in school. This is actually my senior year of college.
Okay.
So just balancing my academic workload with my disability, that kind of gets in the way. Just realistically, I think I could put out maybe 2 songs once I get more comfortable with producing. Currently I have a YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook, and so I started challenging myself to do remixes and covers of songs.
Great.
Or something that I do, I sing gospel. I'm also a part of the worship team at my church. So my style is more R&B, soul, gospel kind of thing. And so I've just been challenging myself. Okay, I'm gonna do a cover of, I don't know, I Raise a Hallelujah or something like that, but add my style and everything to it. And I've also kind of like filmed short videos and working on editing and all that stuff, and just getting feedback. And the more that I've done that, the more it's given me more confidence.
I love it. It sounds like you're doing the right things. You're committing yourself to creating. You're committing yourself to remixes, covers. I mean, that you're literally doing all the proper things. I remember the season that you're in. Like, I remember being in college, serving in ministry, and trying to make music and art. And it's a tough season. So you just have to acknowledge that it's a tough season. At some point, you're gonna have to take something off of your plate. Right? That's just the truth. Like, at some point, you're going to have to take something off of your plate. For me, I had to be intentional actually about falling back with volunteering as much at my church and make time for music. Because if you're volunteering every single Wednesday and then you have a full load of classes and you are trying to consistently create and release something properly with visuals, with marketing, it's going to be very difficult to pull all that off when you have so many responsibilities, not necessarily from a time standpoint, because we could always manage our time better, but more so from a capacity standpoint, right? As you develop more as a human, we grow, our capacity expands, meaning that we could do more stuff. Initially, we have to stretch our capacity. We have to like extend what we can do and make sure that we don't get too soft, right? We don't get too fragile and we're like, oh, I can't get, right? But there is that thing where you only have so much creative output. So if you're doing really intense schoolwork and you're doing really intense creative stuff at church and you're trying to do creative stuff for yourself, that's going to be difficult. So you're going to have to figure out how can you scale something back? Can you trim something back? Can you be more efficient? Can you create better systems? It is, it's a lot. I remember that season. It's a tough season. It was I was doing so much, but it's probably my least productive season. It was when I was your age, if I'm completely honest. Like, I was always creating, but I was releasing even, but I wasn't marketing. I wasn't storytelling. I wasn't really optimizing everything at my disposal. And that's just a byproduct of serving in church. And not to say serving church is bad. Serving church is great. It's an amazing stage to develop, especially as an artist. But it will be difficult to do so many things. So I think once things settle down for you with school, you'll probably have more time. What I did is I went super hard during the breaks. So I would plan out stuff, and then when I had Christmas break, I would drop a bunch of stuff, and then I would wait until spring break, and then I would really go all in. So you got to find that balance for yourself, and be self-aware. You know how much you could put on your plate. You know how much. So it's this tug of war where you're pushing your capacity, but you're also not being irresponsible with your health, right? You're also not being reckless and not sleeping and not drinking water. And you could also go that extreme. A lot of hustle culture is that, right? So it's a delicate balance, I think. So I think you got to find that for yourself. I want you to submit something on a Friday, even if it's a cover, even if it's a whatever, and just watch, because you might drop something and everybody's like, yo, you gotta put this on Spotify. I gotta add this to my playlist. Then you know you might want to move forward in releasing something, even if it's just a song a quarter, right? A song a month. But if it's like, oh, here are all the things you need to work on, then you go, okay, I got to go back to the lab. I got to keep working. I got to keep tweaking. I got to keep working. And then maybe in a year from now, when you're done with school, then you plan to launch into your music career the way somebody plans to launch into a startup, right? And you really approach it with a strategy of this is everything I got to get done. And then boom, I launch into it right after you graduate college.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yes, I'm excited. Can you submit something this coming Friday, even if it's a cover?
This coming Friday.
Come on. I know you got something.
I'll work towards it.
Okay, great. That's fair enough. That's a great question, though. It's a great question. It's an interesting time too. So, okay, I'm gonna go to my brother Bats, and I'll let him take it from here. Go ahead, boss.
Oh yeah, bro. How you doing today?
It's fantastic.
Is it good?
Yeah, solid.
All right, cool. So my question is, I feel like I'm getting a lot of things down right, and I'm learning a lot, but I want to make sure I'm like at a good level and everything. So what is some tips for like to make sure that every person needs for a live performance? Because I see people are starting those back up kind of slowly. So I just want to make sure I have the checklist on what do I need.
In terms of just working on becoming a better live performer?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I think live performing is one of those things where it could really help an artist, but it could also really kind of spin your wheels unnecessarily. Meaning, as a performer, the first thing you need is a good memory, and you need to remember your raps. Okay, that's huge.
Yeah.
I'm horrible at this, if I'm honest. Like, I'm really bad at remembering my raps. It's actually one of the things that prevents me from releasing as many visuals, because I really struggle through my music videos, and so I'm working on like expanding my memory. So one, you got to figure out a way to remember your raps. I'm speaking to myself, right?
Yeah.
So you have to do that. Don't perform to your own tracks. That's another like no. You see a lot of people do this. It's super amateur. There are times where it could be appropriate, but for the most part, create performance tracks, mute your lead vocals. Yes, okay, so you already know what I'm talking about. So remember the raps, mute the lead vocals, create actual performance tracks. That should be a separate session, right? Where maybe you even leave in a bar here or there where you got to breathe, right? So
Yeah.
So I'll say 2. 3, I think a good sound check, if you can sound check, right? Really just kind of feeling the room out, envisioning how the performance is going to go, right? I think a good sound check and just being present in the room. Sometimes you don't get to do that. It's a showcase. It's like a festival style environment, so you may not be able to have the luxury of doing that. So
Yeah.
that's a realistic limitation. I would say after that is putting together a set where, one, you can engage the crowd, right? And by engage the crowd, what I don't mean, this bugs me to death. I do not like going to a concert where a person comes out and they just talk for 45 seconds. Like, don't do that.
Okay.
Don't go out there and say, yo, what's up, guys? My name's Bats. I'm an artist. I make raps. I'm also on TikTok. So I'm going to do some hip-hop. How many people like hip-hop in here? Y'all like hip-hop? Yeah? All right, man.
Like, that's like
don't do that.
Thing.
Yeah, don't do that. Like, that's amateur hour. Don't do that. So the way I structure my sets is I'm coming in. I'm usually opening strong and with something that they're familiar with. Maybe not directly, but something that feels nostalgic, right? So my intro is going to be very like to the point. I'm going to do some type of crowd participation, and I'm going to usually get them up, right? That's a huge thing. So if they're sitting down, I'll get them up. Maybe I'll do some kind of giveaway. And in that, I'm like, yo, I need you guys to come forward. We're going to do this giveaway, and I'm trying to get them up. And then it's like, boom. First thing I do is I'll go into some type of crowd participation. All my people in the place, if you're feeling real good, say, hey, right? Some kind of chant, some back and forth. People tend to like that, especially in a group setting. They want to interact. They want to engage with you. Mm-hmm. That very first verse, By the way, I'm not doing a song as an opener. I'm never doing a song. I'm doing some type of medley and collage of songs, right? But that first verse, I'm going into something that shows them my credibility as an artist. So I'm doing something a bit flashier, something with some double time, something with a lot of cuts in the beat, where the beat hits on the one and then it's muted, and then it hits on the one and then it's muted. And I'm just kind of really showing that I can rap. And then I'm going back into more crowd participation, and then I go into my opening song. That format for me has always worked. Another thing for performances, shorten up your songs. Nowadays everybody's songs are fairly short, so I recommend no more than one verse per song, unless you're like on and everybody's there and is a huge fan. But as you're starting out, people aren't going to know your music. They don't want to sit through a 3-minute song or even a 2-verse song. Get to the point. You know what I mean? Get to the point. Get them with you. Another quick trick that I've been doing for a long time is flipping the instrumental on the second verse. If you're going to do a 2-verse song, flip that instrumental for the second verse into something they know. So say you're doing something with a bounce and it has a bounce. Find a Travis Scott song or a Kendrick song that has the same BPM and the same key, preferably, but at least the same BPM. And so you do your version, do the hook, boom, flip into the other version. So I had a song called I Got the Juice. I would do the first verse, and then the second verse I would flip into Cardi B's Bodak Yellow, and then people would be like, oh, and then I'm styling, and if out of it, they love it, they want to see it, they cover it, they want to be it, the cover of it, it's a free and it's the human, right? I'm doing like something real flashy. People love fast rapping. People love cuts where the beat cuts and your punchline really cuts through, right? So negative space, mutes in the beat. But I would say the most important thing, man, is knowing your freaking lyrics, short songs, strong intro, crowd participation, and you really personifying. I've seen you perform bats before. I think you are naturally a good performer. You have great energy. I think for you, it would just adding some technical things, right? So I really nail my intro. Like my intro really works, and right now my intro opens with Music So Child. It's this called Just Friends. It's an old instrumental, but it's like if it has a nostalgic vibe to it. So it opens with that. I'm getting everybody up. Then I'm going into a Busta Rhymes instrumental, and then I'm going into an old Jay-Z Maya instrumental. And then track 2 is an original song, right? So my first like minute and a half on stage, it's not even my own music. It's just trying to win people over. Then I'm going into some of my own music. And so I would say that, and then figure out where can you do an acapella. So you're building. Where can you sneak in an acapella, really hard-hitting acapella? And then the third thing is, where do you have a climax? Where's the set climax? Your most high-energy song, the song you stop, you teach everybody the hook. You make sure you don't start that record. Don't let the freaking DJ start the record on you prematurely. You teach everybody that hook. Everybody saying that hook with you before the beat drop, then the beat drop, and y'all just turn up. There got to be some type of climax, right? So hopefully, I mean, that's my strategy. People do it at a good amount of success using that format. Super strong intro, some type of acapella or spoken word, big climax. Everybody knows the words. Y'all jumping around, turning up. And that's just kind of what's worked for me. I don't know if I would say like I'm the poster child or something, but like I definitely can go into just about any environment: church, club, bar, college, stage, no stage, big room, small room, 10 people, 2 people, 5 people, 500 people, and win the crowd over using that format. So is that helpful? I know I just threw a whole lot at you.
I took it all in actually, bro. Yeah, that was helpful. Like I never really thought about like using other people's like instrumentals that are very known to engage the crowd so they can have something to go off of. But that makes sense. That's smart. Thank you.
Yeah, and I say for you, like find somebody who has a similar sound in you. So for you, it would be the J. Cole's and the Kendricks, right? So like find that J. Cole song that everybody loves, you know what I mean, and then drop it, find the BPM similar. So like literally look at like J. Cole's top songs on Spotify and see if you can find those instrumental. And when can you weave those in for the second verse of your performance? You know what I mean? And if you do it right and it's a popular song, everybody, when it beat flips, everybody's gonna go, oh, and that's what you want. right? When the beat cuts out and you give them that hard fourth bar or that hard eighth bar, they should go, oh, right? Your acapella, there should be those moments. But it requires you nailing it on the intro, right? You nailing it on the intro. So by all means, man, don't go up there and start rambling. Don't talk a bunch in between your songs. That's a pet peeve of mine. Like just talking and rambling. Like there should be a moment where there should be, depending on how long your set is, right? There should be a moment where you introduce that climax song and you teach everybody the hook. And there should be a moment where you tell your story, preferably over music or some type of instrumental. So it's not just awkward silence and you're trying to like give this testimony, but it's like a vibe to it. You know what I'm saying? There's some instrumental or something playing. Again, something nostalgic, something they're familiar with, turned down. So those really should be the only two moments you talk, in my opinion. As a new artist, once you're doing a show and everybody knows your words, all this goes out the window. None of this stuff really matters. Yeah. At that point, you can freaking rap along to your album and people are going to love it, you know? The issue is a lot of people look at superstars and based how they perform on the people who've made it, not understanding what it takes to actually first build up as a live performer. And it takes way more calculated effort and honestly just a lot of learning how to win the crowd over. You know what I mean? And performance today, I feel like, is a lost art, in my opinion. Like, I feel like it's a lost art. And one of the things I've been able to do well throughout my whole career is just stand in front of crowds that don't know me and, like, win them over, or at least win the majority of the crowd over.
Yeah, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, do you have a performance coming up?
No, because I was just thinking, like, I was looking at my songs. And I was like, should I create a performance? I just had free time on my hand. I was thinking about creating a performance track. So like, yeah, like you said, like a compilation of different songs. So it's like, it's not like their attention span's not gonna run out so quick. So yeah, bro, that's really what I was thinking about. I like thinking about the future a lot. So that's just my mindset on that. Thank you.
That's dope. I love it, man. I love it. That's a great question. Let's go to the homie Bartholomew Jones. Making sure the coffee stay black. What's good?
Just like me. What's up?
Cool.
What's up? Yeah, I had a question. I'm sitting on a lot of tracks at this point. So currently, you know, we got the track dropping next week, and I have the lyric video, the music video, and the song. And so I'm kind of trying to think through, do I drop the song and then a week later drop the lyric video and then a week later drop the music video? Or do I drop the song and the music video at the same time and the lyric video later, or the song and the lyric video first? And because there's like at least 7 or 8 more songs, I'm just trying to think through, like, should I just package them all in an EP? But for me, I feel like I'm losing, because we're shooting music videos for all of them. So I feel like I kind of lose the like little boost in attention when you drop a song in a music video, as opposed to like a batch of songs and then like a music video later. You know what I mean?
I feel like you've been growing consistently, and I think what you're doing is working from the outside looking in. I'm not like looking at your analytics or watching you on Spotify for artists, but it seems like you're growing. Tell me what you've been doing, and do you feel like it's working? Tell me that real quick.
Okay, so yeah, at first I was just putting out music, you know, and then we started shooting the visuals. So I dropped like the lyric video for Sunkissed. But people really liked that, so it ended up kind of being the music video too, because it had like a visual component. And so the next song, I think I dropped the lyric video like the next week. And so this song I'm excited about. Well, no. Anyhow, it was a similar thing. We dropped the lyric video the next week. So this song is something where I'm like, I feel like we could drop the lyric video and the song at the same time, and then, you know, have that be a premiere, and then also have the music video be premiering the next week, so we can extend the attention for the song over a 2-week period, as opposed to kind of dropping everything at the same time. But I feel like 3 weeks is stretching it out too far, because I got another record that's dropping, you know, the next month.
I think the best thing you could do is just don't overcomplicate this for yourself. You're doing a great job. So if what I would do is not necessarily what you have to do, right? It depends how much music you have out, what you got going on. What I would do is I would probably drop the song and the visual the same day. and then just keep it
The
pushing.
song in the lyric video or the song in the
No,
music video?
the song and the music video. I would just drop it the same day, and then I would go crazy with my ads. And I would just make sure.
What should I do with the lyric video? Or what would you do with the lyric video?
I'll keep it a buck. I don't even got plans to do lyric videos. So you got these lyric videos. How much time are they taking you to do? Are they easy to do? Are they cheap to do? I don't know that.
All I do is I just shoot a one take of me doing something interesting and pay somebody like $20 to put the lyrics on there.
Do you think the lyric video helps you?
I've gotten some interesting interaction. Like a lot of people just asking me, hey, especially because like we're growing the audience in Brazil. So like people like, hey, can we get the lyrics or we want to see them? So it's helpful just to have that there. And I was thinking it's a good way to scale the song too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that. No, I like that. That's actually a great point. I like that. So, if the lyric videos are working, bro, drop the lyric video with the record. And then if you're dropping every other week, then the Friday in between, drop the music video. But push that music video as a separate release.
Okay, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
It tell people that I feel that.
Boom, record is out. Yo, the lyric video comes out with the record. So now there's something to promote the record. But then, so we're pushing people to Spotify. The record, the lyric video is just kind of like a soft launch. We're not really focused on that. Boom. But the following Friday, you're pushing everybody to go set the reminder for the YouTube premiere and really working that YouTube premiere and trying to push that YouTube premiere. So all the promo is go set the reminders on YouTube, go set the reminders on YouTube, and you're trying to see if you could touch the YouTube algorithm. So I think that could be fly, because if you're dropping every other week, then do that. And then another thing I would say, bro, especially if you're sitting on a lot of music and you're like, I got all these records, I don't know what to do with them, right? So I don't know how your audience would feel about this, but something I would consider is if you're sitting on a bunch of records that you're just like, I don't know if I want to shoot videos for these, or they're older, you feel like you should get them out. Bro, drop an exclusive Coffee Black project, and they only can get it if they buy or subscribe to your coffee.
That makes sense. Yeah, so we can do, because we're actually pushing the subscription for the monthly subscription. We just launched that with like our first virtual event. Yes. That we did last week. So I
heard that went well, by the way. Congratulations.
It was a vibe, bro. And people seem to enjoy us being nerdy and talking about coffee and rapping and, you know, talking about social issues and stuff. So I'm going to release a bunch of micro content with that. But I should just tell people like, hey, boom, you get the because it was one of the downloads in there. The EP with all this music I did was one of the bonuses, but I didn't really promote it to my music audience. I mostly promoted it to the business people. So I should just tell the audience like, hey, you know, the EP is exclusive. These songs may or may not come out. I mean, they eventually will. I just don't know what order they'll come in. You know what I mean? So
yeah, bro, I think as an artist, you are such an advantage to leverage both, to cross promote both, right? So if I'm you, Coffee Black exclusive, you know, Bartholomew Jones EP, only for people that got the subscription, you know?
It's like a 10-song EP, bro. Like, so it's an album. I just don't think it makes sense for me to drop another album again. You know what I mean?
Yep. So I would have your records that you're promoting with visuals, this music, get them on a subscription. Here's what's fire about the subscription. This is what's genius about the subscription. There's a couple angles you could take with the subscription. One is, you're going to buy coffee anyway. Why not buy it from us? That's freaking brilliant. Any coffee, listen, any coffee drinker who's black should be getting their coffee from Coffee Black, period, right? Right. So that's a no-brainer. That's a brilliant marketing move, right? Joe, just get your coffee from us. What is you doing? Like, why are you why would you go to the grocery store and buy a coffee? One, and then two, you could take the save some money and learn to brew your own coffee at the crib, because you're gonna save money. Oh, and you get this free record, and you get a discount code for the web store, and you get this music. Why would you not do that? So you're giving them so much value in that whole thing. And the dope part is you're constantly educating. You're showing people how you do your coffee. You're like cooking crack with the coffee, right? It look crazy.
Yeah, bro, we whipping.
Yeah,
Really
you with
dope.
it. So boom, keep doing the education thing, and it actually works out for somebody that say they do drink coffee every day or every other day. Now they're saving a ton, and I didn't really realize this. This didn't really click, and I think I've sent you some videos from Grant Stephan, but Grant Stephan, who's like a multi-millionaire, he has like I think he has 1 million subscribers on YouTube. He does a lot of like financial literacy investment stuff. One of the things he's big on, and mind you, he's making millions, is he's like, I don't pay for Starbucks coffee. I don't ever buy coffee when I'm out. I brew my own coffee at home. And that's like one of his big things. It's almost like an ongoing joke, right? Because he just feels like I'm paying 20 cents a cup versus $3 or $5 a cup, right? And that could be a real angle you take where
that's a good look.
you're pushing your business while empowering people to be financially responsible. Like, come on,
we should make a
bro.
whole ad off that, bro. Yeah, that's money. That's money right there.
Yeah, and it's like, yo, you get to control what goes into your coffee. You can still give people artificial sweeteners. I know you're like coffee black, but start telling people about monk fruit. Start telling people about these other sweeteners that aren't high in sugar, high in calories, gonna get you addicted. You know, like that Starbucks not gonna get you addicted because you get in the coffee high, but then you're also just all that creamer and that foam and all that stuff. That stuff can't be good for you. And you're like, listen, we say make it black, and this is how you can make it black. But check it out. Check out monk fruit. Monk fruit's a game changer. Monk fruit's a vibe. And it's keto friendly. And it's low carb. Come on, man.
We haven't even hit the health conscious lane. That's a good point, man. That's a
great
point.
It's health conscious. It's financially literate. And you're supporting small business, and you don't got to think about it. I don't got to think about getting my coffee and did I get my cup? Nope, because it's on a subscription. I know it's gonna come. I'm gonna spend the same amount at the store. I'm probably gonna spend more at the store depending on people's taste in coffee or whatever. But I know it's good coffee. Yeah. Like that's the thing I know about your product because I'm not a coffee guy like that. But like my niece made some the other day. I had some. My wife's had some, and everybody's like, "Yo, this stuff is amazing." You know, so you got a good product on your hands. I feel like.
That's word. That's a vibe. So that's what I'm gonna just push this subscription because that's pretty much the plan for the rest of the year on the business page. Is like convert people over to a subscription so I can start. I'm paying like my mother-in-law. I'm paying my brothers. I got like family members working for me and people in the hood working for me. So like I need consistent money to be able to do that. And so like being able to do this, I think would be like the subscription just helps me to be able to be sustainable financially. You know what I mean? Without me having to take a loan out. And
by the way, the subscription should also come with some type of regular event that you do with the people.
No. The subscription is literally, it's a brew culture subscription. So basically what they're doing is they get access to an exclusive Zoom YouTube call every month where we like do live music. We bring in guests. It's basically like a live podcast recording with like a freestyle DJ element with a like coffee brewing element. So like they get access to that, and the only way to get access to that is if you're in this subscription, and everything in the subscription box is what we're going to use to like kind of educate people on coffee and its history and stuff like that.
Come on. I'm telling you, yo, this is not just a future of like how to monetize art. Like this is the future of like what being an influencer is you are literally educating, you're entertaining, you're adding tangible value, and you're building community. Like everybody should be really taking notes about the way Bart is building this thing out because it hits all those things, man, and it's very powerful and it's very valuable. So kudos to you, bro. I think you guys are crushing it. I would just keep at it. But that subscription is gonna be the method, and if you just if you give them more than they feel like you're taking, they're always going to be with you. If you and what is this? How much does the subscription cost, and where can they get it?
So it's at coffeeblack.com, and the subscription is $35. So in the subscription box, they're going to get a bag of Guji Mane. We also have an exclusive natural coffee from Guji, Ethiopia, from like the Walichu Wachu region. So they're going to get 8 ounces of that as well as like this print. We'll do a monthly print that they'll receive, and the download of the album and access to the live that nobody else gets access to. So that's pretty much the whole vibe. And then we also have like, this pen, this Make Coffee Black Again pen. They're going to get that too. So yeah, pretty much anything exclusive I get, I'm just throwing it in that box.
And how much coffee did they get for that 35 a month?
So for 35 a month, they're getting a regular 12-ounce bag plus a exclusive 8-ounce bag.
Okay.
And then we have
So that's
we're getting
20 ounces of coffee.
Yep.
And is
Quick
all
math.
of it is only the 8-ounce bag from Ethiopia, or is all of it from Ethiopia?
No, all of it's from Ethiopia. So coffee, like peaches or apples, you got different varietals, right? Like you got, red delicious, or you got the red apples, you got the gold delicious, you got Granny Smith. Coffee, same thing, you know what I mean? So you can grow coffee in an area, but each of it, not all of it's going to taste different, because you got different varietals, and they process it differently too. So one coffee is like a wash process from the Sidamo Guji region, specifically the Binti Nanka area. The other one is a natural process from the Walichu. So one tastes from the Walichu Wocha region. So one is like kind of like blackberry, sparkling grape, lavender. The other John is like brown sugar, Arizona peach tea, like sweet potato pie spices. So like they're totally different as far as how they taste in the cup. And that's the only what people have been asking us for a long time. Like, yo, drop a new coffee. Like, boom, you want the new coffee? Get the subscription box. And then we have some collabs coming up with some really big roasters, like Onyx Coffee and stuff. And so those are going to get here. And then if people want to get that, again, you got to get the subscription box. So you'll get your bag of Gucci Man like you get every month. But these exclusive collaborations, like you're only going to get those in the box, because we're trying to build like a community of people, and then we'll cup it with people live and like brew it together.
That's genius, man. Them subscriptions, that's where it's at, bro. Y'all getting it.
How does 35 price point feel to you? Like, is that high or low? Like, how does that feel to you?
Yeah, I'm not a coffee drinker, so I don't know. I know I probably spend for my French press yerba mate that I make, and I make it almost every week. I make like a batch, and I like fill my own bottles. You could actually hear me pouring it when you started talking earlier in this. I thought,
I saw you.
So I make my own. So I probably spend about $30 a month on my yerba mate brew, plus the cans, and I spend a lot on these cans, bro. Like I spend too much on these cans if I'm gonna keep it a buck. So I don't know the market that well. I'm not a coffee drinker like that to know what are you getting, how much are you getting. I would just like, what are you charging per ounce versus what the store is charging per ounce, and if you can get it closer to that, and maybe if it's a little bit more, I think you can get away with it. But if it's like comparable to what so you're getting 20 ounces for $35, is the store charging $1 an ounce? Is the store charging $2 an ounce? What is like the premium coffee at Whole Foods cost per ounce? You know what I mean?
Right. It's about like they're generally playing, 18 to $20 for 12 ounces.
Okay.
And so we're giving you 8 more than that for 35. So basically you're getting another one for like 15 on top, plus the print, plus the music, plus the live cast, plus the like exclusive like merch and stuff like that. So
let me ask. So there's somebody. There's a coffee drinker in the YouTube. Let me see. So what's a reasonable price for you, Orlando? He said drinks coffee every day. 35 is too high for me. What's a reasonable price? Let's see if he gives us
for a monthly subscription. What would he feel like is a good price?
That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. He said, So he said I drink coffee every day, and 35 a month is too high for me. But what do you see? That's the thing. Like, okay, but what are you actually spending? Are you logging your spending? Again, I'm not from the culture, so I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and cap like I know what people spend on coffee. I would think if you're getting coffee at Starbucks every day or every other day, you're probably spending in the hundreds. If you're brewing your own coffee every day, are you spending less than 35? And is it good quality coffee? Are you doing like Folgers instant coffee?
Part of me wants to like run a sale this week. And see how the sale does. So if we run a sale for like 28 or 30 this week, and see how people respond to it, you know what I mean? Because I know people like I'm putting them in we got 10K on the business page, so I got the swipe up option. So I put it in there every day. So I'm interested to see like what the conversion is. You know what I mean? Or would it make more sense for people to get like a 2-pound bag? But the 2-pound bag goes for 50. So I'm like, I don't know if we could put that in the subscription box and it still makes sense for us financially.
Yeah, I would say, could you run a promo where they lock in a cheaper price, and you say, yo, because here's the thing, yeah, we really gonna give them some tactical game, right? And this is not something that and nobody else is gonna tell you this, right? But us. Urgency and scarcity are the best ways to market stuff. So if the price is 38, but for the next 5 days they can get locked in at 25 or 26, right? And then after that it's 35 or 38 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That could be a good way, and you figure out a way to add like a clock on the website, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then you only open it up for, yo, this weekend only. This is the time to sign up. You lock in at this rate. You keep this rate. You get a crazy value, right? So, my man Orlando said $15. Nah, bro. Listen. You're getting premium coffee imported from Ethiopia. You bugging? Eddie said, for all the things you get, it's well worth $35. I drink coffee, and the quality of coffee is way better than what you're getting at the store. So what I'm saying is, what is the pricing for like the premium stuff, or let's just say medium to higher premium stuff at the Whole Foods, at those spots? Because that's kind of what you're comparable, right? Like, you're not doing cheap coffee. So I think I would consider Starbucks isn't even $15 cap. Orlando capping what?
I think if you go to your local roaster, you can get a solid Colombian or like Central American coffee for like 14. You know what I mean?
12 ounces?
You're getting if you're getting the African coffee, and let's say your local roaster pretty much just works locally, I think you could get like, you could probably get it for 16, maybe 18. But once you get into like your higher tier specialty coffees, like if you're looking at an Onyx, or if you're looking at like a Proud Mary's, or you're looking at like an Oddly Correct, then the coffee starts to get like 20, 22, 24, because people are sourcing like really, really rare coffees. And so we kind of try to hit that middle like $20 point, because we're sourcing like a fairly expensive coffee, at least for coffee. But I'm also not serving you like a varietal that only exists in 100 pounds on the planet this year. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So
have you looked at best practices in terms of what other people were charging for something similar?
That was pretty much the biggest. Somebody set my cell phone going crazy right now. But that was pretty much the biggest factor for me in trying to decide, what we were going to do. Oh, my phone's ringing.
Yeah, I would say best practices, figure out what other people are charging, right? Figure out what other people are charging, undercut them a little bit, but only for a weekend, and really push that weekend. That weekend is everything. So you getting people, get people to sign up for an email, something where they then get the notification that, this is available for the weekend. You're going to get locked in at a crazy wild rate. Because to you got to count the cost and say, what makes more sense to you, to eat a little bit on the margin but to have the cash flow, or to get more on the margin but have less cash flow? I think if I'm you, I rather have 300 people, and the profit margin is a little less, but you got that consistency, than to have 100 people and it's a higher profit margin.
Plus, it's a year-long subscription. You know what I mean? So for me, I think being able to have the dependable money to budget, it just allows us to do more work in the community than being locked into, than like me kind of like marketing anew every month. So what I'm gonna do is I got the super phone, and the super phone is like slick annoying, because I'm basically, once I send out a super phone blast, I know I'm gonna be texting people all day long, and I'm gonna have like 10 people who are like, yo, take me off this. How did I get on here? I'm gonna have to explain to them like, hey, we got your number from when you order with us. But then I'm gonna have, a good 50 to 70 people who are super hyped to hear from us and like, yo, this is incredible. So like the super phone is one of those things where I kind of have to like clear the whole day out, because once I send it to like 3,000 people, I'm gonna just be messaging people all day. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I think it's a good look.
I love it.
And
I love it.
I probably could like zone in on some of our more like frequent buyers. Like if people have purchased from us more than one time, then it might make more sense. It might make more sense to hit those people up.
Yeah, man. I love it. That's dope. That's fire, man. Bartholomew Jones, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's see. We're going to go to the homie AJ.
Appreciate you.
AJ, go ahead, boss. You're live.
Yo. What's up, Ruslan? So I asked in Patreon, basically, I'm trying to figure out where I want to put my time, my effort, my energy, etc. Obviously, like, I'm a rapper, I produce music, I dance. Recently, I started a podcast with one of my friends that's been doing like okay for like a new podcast. I edit videos and I have 2 jobs. I edit videos for my mom. And so I feel like I should be further along in one of those things than I am at this certain point. And my thought process is perhaps I'm spreading myself too thin across so many different things. But I'm trying to figure out, like, I feel like I enjoy life more when I'm creating on all these different levels. So how can I focus while not necessarily taking things off the table? You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. You know what? It's tough. Who is that? Can you guys mute yourself? Somebody's in the back. Everybody's muted. Is that you? I think it's tough, bro, because to grow a business requires a ton of patience, right? And that's what you're attempting to do. Like, you're attempting to build a media company. So you're learning media, you're learning podcasting, you're learning video, you're learning how to rap, how to produce, right? So you're in that developmental stage where you're just still learning and trying to get good at what it is you're doing. The short answer to your question, AJ, is going to be deliberate, be intentional, but know that it takes patience. It's going to require patience. It's not going to happen overnight. Everybody assumes that it's going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen overnight. And sometimes it could be deceptive because we see people that seemingly blow up overnight, or you see people catching momentum, but not understanding that you're seeing the end. You're seeing somebody's climax. You're seeing somebody's end. You're seeing somebody decades in, and you think that it's overnight. Or you're seeing somebody that's a part of nepotism, right? Like, there's a degree of nepotism, and we think that nepotism is organic. So it's really hard to maintain that perspective on how to remain patient, and knowing that if you keep chipping away at all these things, you will get good, and your moment will come, and you will develop and get better, and then something will slowly, like, it'll start clicking for you, right? The tough part is you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with years of developing, years of learning, years of these things, that it's not going to be done overnight. It's just not, you know what I'm saying? Unless you just get lucky and you just have a random TikTok video go super viral. But even those people that have the one TikTok video that goes super viral, nowadays that doesn't translate to 1 million followers off of one video. A million followers on TikTok doesn't translate to 100,000 followers on Instagram. Even those things have changed, and you have to consistently keep going viral and keep popping. So I think my answer to you is, AJ, you got to be patient. You have to not buy into the nonsense that's going to be pushed to you by music and marketing. I'll give you a really good example, right? Nepotism in hip hop. I don't know if you guys know what the word nepotism means. Nepotism just means that you advance because of your family, right? And we don't think this happens, but it does. I'll give you guys a really, really, really real deal example. There's an artist exploding right now, and they tried to make him look like he just organically exploded. And the artist's name is Baby Keem, right? Some of you guys may have heard of him. And the way they made it look was like, oh man, Baby Keem, he just sent, like they asked him, like, how did you get credits on the Black Panther soundtrack for production? And he was like, oh, I just sent in a beat pack to TDE through a Gmail and they just used it. And then overnight I got credits on the Black Panther soundtrack, right? And so like that's the narrative that's being pushed by him and by all these big publications are starting to cover him, right? Well, as people dug away, they found out that Baby Keem is actually Kendrick Lamar's little cousin, right? And that he actually is being managed by Dave Free, who was the president of Top Dog Entertainment. So Kendrick's manager / president of Top Dog walked away from Top Dog to manage Baby Keem. 2, they just leaked reference tracks of Kendrick Lamar that allegedly are Baby Keem demos. So Kendrick Lamar could potentially be writing all of the music, right? So it's just like, bro, this is typical nepotism. Like your uncle is one of the best rappers ever. And so you get on overnight and you get platinum credits on Black Panther soundtrack. And he might be potentially writing your raps, right? But but the way it's framed, AJ, is that, oh, Baby Keem, he's 18 years old. He's a rock star, right? And it's almost framed in a way to make you feel like a failure because you're not as far along as he is. You aren't as popping as he is. Do you not have the work ethic? Do you not, right? And that's the deceptive part about all of this industry stuff is that, bro, it doesn't work that way. No one sends in a beat pack to TDE and lands credits on the biggest soundtrack of the year. It just does. That's just not how it works. It takes time. It takes positioning. It's a small business, and it's going to take time. And your first couple years are going to be survival mode, right? Any small business, the first couple years. So you're in survival mode. Like you're literally in survival mode, and you're just trying to get stuff off the ground. It's not going to happen like that. Now, you can do everything you can to educate yourself, and you should be actively educating yourself. You should be on YouTube learning as much as you can about podcasting. You should be on YouTube learning as much as you can about rapping, about cadences, about recording. You should always be educating yourself, and that stuff will help you along the way. But bro, there's no shortcut to patience. There's no shortcut to figuring out your product. And the truth is, if you parallel music to any other business, most people have multiple attempts before they get their first business off the ground. Most people fail at something a handful of times before they actually strike something. And most people don't really become successful until they're in their 30s. Like, that's just the truth, right? And that's not to say that you have to wait until you're 30. That's just to say, bro, you got to have some realistic gauges of how this is going to pan out. And it's going to be a slow burn until you hit that mass point, that critical point where you're good enough, you understand marketing, you're collaborating with the right people, and then it'll start building for you, right? But you're still in that developmental stage. Like you're just trying to get good at making music first, right? Like that's where you're at. Like focus on that, do everything you can on that. Don't stretch yourself too thin. So if you're working 2 jobs, I'm not volunteering anywhere else right now if I'm you. Right, you're working 2 jobs and you're trying to get music off the ground. I'm not volunteering anywhere, right? If I'm you, I'm not volunteering in my youth group. I'm probably not dating. You know what I mean? I'm really focusing on getting your business off the ground. It comes with sacrifices. You have to do it. You have to make sure you don't blow your money. You got to manage your mood and where you're at emotionally and your mental health, bro. It's hard, bro. This isn't easy. Like, if it was easy, everybody would be successful. Everybody would make 6 figures. Everybody would be wealthy, right? But it's not. It's very difficult, especially when you come from the mud. Like, when you come from nothing, it's very difficult. You know what I mean? It's simple. It's simple. It will work out. Maybe not as a rapper, but in something. It will work out. Maybe it's your podcast that explodes. Maybe you develop some crazy unique sound as a producer. I don't know. But the truth is, if you keep working and you understand marketing and business as a creative, it will pan out. It just may take you 5 years, 3 years, 10 years. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to suffer for half a decade until you start seeing some real measurable money off of this thing? You know what I mean? I don't know that question for you. It seems like you are. You know what I mean? It seems like you are. So I don't know. Is that? Do you want? You want me to elaborate on anything? I know I just gave you kind of like a very broad
no, for sure.
concept.
I'm So you think it is good that I'm doing all these different things? Like I should keep doing all of them?
I think yes, with the caveat that it's going to take you longer to get good at all of them at the same time. So what does that mean? That means you have to be in education mode all the time. So you're always learning, you're always being deliberate, you're looking for the best stuff on YouTube, being curious, right? And you're learning multiple skills. You're trying to learn how to rap, you're trying to learn how to podcast and speak, and you're trying to learn how to produce. Is that right? Those are your three main things?
Yeah, that and kind of figuring out the social media and YouTube.
Okay, and you're trying to learn how to market. So you're trying to learn how to rap, produce, podcast, and marketing. If you can figure out a way to see that as all one stream of consciousness, you will grow at it faster. If you could think of a song and how to produce the song and how to talk about the song in a podcast and then how to market the song with a music video and an IG, Instagram ad rollout, you will grow at it faster. If you're looking at it like three separate things, it's going to be very difficult to do that. You see what I'm saying? But they do overlap. It's not like they don't overlap. Video editing, production, mixing, rapping all overlaps. Podcasting is just really you learning how to articulate and how to communicate. Really what you're trying to learn as a podcaster to do, by the way, is you're trying to learn persuasion. This is something that doesn't get talked about enough. You're trying to learn how to persuade people to your point of view and to show empathy and to understand and connect with people. That you could study that. You can learn that, right? But it requires time and effort. There's just no way around it. You know what I mean? So, and your capacity to learn might be different, right? Your capacity to learn, your self-awareness might be different, right? But it is going to be that time under tension. It is going to be that consistency. It is going to be doing all this. So yeah, I think you should do all of them. However, do it for 6 months. And if you feel like in 6 months, you aren't where you want to be in one of those things, it's okay to fall back and say, I'm going to hit pause on this. You know, it's okay to be like, yo, I'm trying to learn how to rap, produce, podcast, and market myself. Okay, you know what? I don't like where I'm at as a rapper, so I'm going to put production to the side for a season. I'm just going to use a bunch of YouTube beats and just try to get as good as I can off of YouTube beats. Then I'm going to come back to rapping. You know what I mean? Then I'm going to come back to producing. That's okay too, right? Like, that's totally okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I believe that's kind of how Bats did it. Like, I believe Bats really went in on rapping, and as he got really professional as a rapper, then he said, okay, now I'm going to learn to produce. Once he was good as a rapper, producing wasn't that difficult because he just understood time and vibe and texture and colors and, you know what I'm saying, and just kind of how to fuse stuff together. But AJ, I just want you to know that there's no shortcuts. It takes time. It takes patience. You're doing the right things. I would also say make sure that you're in the right headspace. Make sure that your headspace is that of optimal efficiency, meaning that you aren't super tired all the time. You aren't super emotionally drained because you're dealing with toxic people in your personal life or debating toxic people online, right? I don't know what you're doing, but like if you're clear-headed, if you feel good, if you feel like you're on the right path, you're going to create better art usually.
Okay, I think that is kind of tricky because I do have some minor like sleeping problems. Like I fall asleep during the daytime without trying to. And I work an hour away from where I live, so I'm trying to move soon. But sometimes with like my commute and stuff, it makes like the sleeping problems a bit more difficult. So I'm not sure whether or not I have how long do I have the capacity to keep doing what I'm doing, and not feel dead all the time.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Don't compromise on sleep. Like, don't play with your sleep. Don't play with your health. Don't play with your mental health. Right? Like, don't play with that stuff. That's serious stuff. Like, your mind, your brain, you have for the rest of your life. You might switch careers in 10 years, in 5 years. You might pivot. You might do something different. But you need that brain of yours. You need that nervous system. You know what I'm saying? Don't blow that trying to chase something, you know?
For sure.
So,
right, thanks,
good question,
son.
man. Good question. All right, let's see. Who else wants to hop in? You could use the little hand up feature. Just throw your hand up. We'll do a few more before I got to get out of here. Yo, shout out to everybody watching on YouTube. Appreciate you guys. Give this video a thumbs up. If you want to hop in the call, the link is in the description. I'm gonna pin the homie Aaron up. I'm gonna pin you up, Boston. I'm gonna go get a beverage, but I can hear you, so just go ahead and just jump right into your question.
You good, homie?
Yep, I can hear you. Go ahead, boss.
First off, fresh haircut. I see you with the drip.
Hey, appreciate you.
All right. So my question was about basically like finding like your sound. So my manager, I just sent him like 10 of my new records I cooked up at the crib. And he was like, he basically said, they're all really good. He's like, but I don't hear Aaron. So he was like, one song sounds like this, one song sounds like that, one song sounds like this, but there's no consistent flow. And he was like, they're all really good and we could put them out. But if you want to really cut through, you need to have a consistent sound, like the Baby has his sound, you know, Travis Scott, Young Thug have their sound. But me personally, when I record, it's like whatever vibe or mood I'm in, that's what I record to. So he was like, you heard the new record, what's going on? And I have another record. He was like, your content and is the same, but you need to find like a soundtrack to what you're doing. So I kind of agree with him, but then I'm like, I want to hear your advice. Like, do you think to cut through in this day and age, I have to create a whole new, well, not even a whole new sound, just have like when the beat come on, like, oh, that's an AP beat, or can I be experimental and just have different vibes and put them out? If that makes sense.
Man, that's a great question. And this is something that I'm figuring out in real time. I think especially in CHH, there's a lot of that, right? Like you got a lot of people that can do a lot of different things. And for whatever reason in our community, having your own sound isn't a huge value for most people, right? And it's very easy to get sucked into that. It's very easy to get sucked into, I'm just going to kind of do whatever's hot. I'm going to do whatever I feel comfortable doing. I'm going to do whatever I feel, right? Here's the thing. If you look at breakthrough artists, the overwhelming majority of them break through with a sound, something that hasn't really been done yet, right? The Baby is a great example, but so is Kendrick Lamar. Right? So is J. Cole. J. Cole produced his own beats. He created his own sound, right? Kendrick Lamar came in, not just with his own producer, Soundwave. Kendrick came in with his own engineer. There's a specific way Ali mixes Kendrick's vocals, right? I'm trying to think of some other examples. Obviously, Travis Scott, Kanye came in with a sound. Jay-Z came in with a sound. A lot of people who are disruptive come in. Griselda, huge example. Griselda has a very, very, very unique sound. So I think your manager is right, bro. I think your manager is 100% right. Here's the deal. You have to find either a way to produce your own music, or you have to find a producer that will help you carve out this sound that becomes y'all sound. That's what the Baby has. People don't know that about the Baby, but the Baby has like one main producer he works with, and that producer is very calculated. Like the Baby sound is very intentional, which is why I like him as an artist. The Baby sound is they use these quirky kind of cartoony sounds with gritty drums, and what it is they're intentionally juxtaposing this fool saying some wild stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'll put your hands in, I'll beat you up in front of your baby moms and your kids. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, doop, boop, bloop, 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 bloop. You know what I mean? And like weird, like the concoction is super bizarre, but it's intentional. Drake has his own producers. He has 3 producers, 40, Boy Wonder, and I think Vinyls. So those are like the 3 main guys. And 40 touches everything, right? And that's his engineer and his producer. So I do think you need that, and I think you're either going to have to learn to produce, or you're going to have to get with a producer and really figure out a sound. It's just going to serve you way better than being the jack of all trades, right? So all the new stuff, and by the way, I am not like a great example of this, but my new stuff is primarily, the new stuff I'm working on is primarily 80 to 95 BPM. It all feels the same. I don't want to give away too much of it, but there's a lot in there that's just really cohesive, and I'm just really dialing down one sound, the same BPM range, the same arrangement, the same, again, I don't want to give away too much, but I'm being very intentional about it, so that when I come out, it'll be like, oh, this is Ruslan's sound, and every record should feel similar. You know what I mean? Another great example, Toby Wigway. Toby Wigway has a sound. He has one producer that pretty much does all of his stuff. So I think Russ, another great example. Russ produces all of his own music. He has a sound, right? Jay Monty has a sound, right? So I 100% agree. You're going to be more likely, because if you have a sound, then people will go to you for that sound instead of saying, oh, I'm just gonna listen to whatever that's hot. That's what a lot of Christian hip hop is. That's why I'm big on people like, don't put your flag here and get too deep here, because the fans are finicky. Whoever got the latest record that feels like a Drake record, that's who they're gonna listen to. But you want your fans that go to something that only you can provide for them. You don't want folks that are like, oh yeah, this record is hot because this record is hot. There's a lot of people like that in this community. There's a lot of fans like that. But if you could do something, so when you could do something only you can do, there's no competition, bro. And that's what you want. You don't want there to feel like there's competition between you and 5 other Christian rappers, because y'all all use the same freaking producers, because y'all all use the same concepts, y'all all use the same cadences. How much of Christian hip hop is that? How much of it is we're using the same stuff, right? And it's like, fam, like, and I be on these dudes' neck, like, stop listening to Drake. I don't need another Christian Drake song. Gosh, right? But they keep listening to Drake, and so we got a bunch of Drake alternatives. You know what I'm saying? We got a bunch of Drake Christian versions of, or whoever, right? And I just don't like it. I don't like it. And that's honestly, you guys keep asking me to do reviews of such and such, or do a review of such. I can't, because I'm just gonna be like, I don't like this. I don't want this from this artist. If I wanted this, I would go to the secular artist that does this. I don't want this from fill in the blank. You know what I mean? And there's been a couple of guys that have, I think, nailed it. But by and large, I don't see a lot of people that have their own producer. One of the guys I think actually does a good job of this, and he does not get a ton of credit, is Kid Triz. Like, I think Kid Triz does a really good job. He's a Christian artist, does a really good job. It's him and Mars. The producer's name is Mars, and it's him and Mars. And bro, they got their sound, they got their aesthetic, they got their vibe, and it's their thing. And sometimes he'll do some singing stuff, sometimes he'll do some ratchet rap, hardcore rap stuff, but those guys, they always get the momentum going. They always cut through. You know what I'm saying? But the guys that are bouncing from producer to producer, everybody's using the same 3 or 4 producers. It just all sounds the same to me, bro. So yeah, I don't want to listen to a record and feel like I've heard the record before. And that's a lot of Christian music, bro. And I'm tapped in. I'm not just listening to Drake. I know who they're pulling from. That's the Baby Keem. I know when an artist is pulling from the Baby Keem, and people don't really know Baby Keem like that. I hear that stuff. I'm not like writing to their stuff, but I keep up with a lot of music, and I'm just like, yo, a lot of y'all is just riding the latest wave, man. So for me, I'm trying to go polar opposite. I'm trying to create a specific sound with a specific BPM range, a specific format of how my music comes together. And that's what I'm on. So I think your manager is right. It's going to be a slower burn, though, bro. It's going to take you a little bit of time to find that sound. It's going to take you a little bit of time to master that sound. It's going to take a little bit of time for you to be a weirdo and everybody be like, I don't like that. I don't think no 808s and that. Like, you're going to have that, right? And Roddy Ricch, another example. Roddy Ricch came in with a sound, right? Like, they were doing something on that that record with the rap they did something that I hadn't heard on a mainstream song before, which is they were using reverse 808s. They started using reverse 808s. That was very unique to that sound. So yeah, man. So I think, bro, yes, take your time, master the sound, master the aesthetic. It might take you a year. But let it show that version. Show how you document that. You know what I'm saying? And I think you're going to be way better in the long term. In the short term, yes, you're taking an L. In the short term, yes, you're not going to be on a playlist. It's going to be tough. In the long term, though, there could only be one you, and that's what you want. You don't want there to be any competition, because when you're you, people will come to you for you, not because you have a hot record, but because they want that work, and only you got the work that they want. You know what I'm saying?
So I shouldn't put out any other music until I craft that sound? Or kind of throw out Lucy's just to keep the monthly listeners going up, do all that type of stuff?
That's your discretion. Like, if you got good records, put them out, but definitely have a plan for definitely have a plan for how your new stuff is going to come together. You know what I mean? So it just depends. Like, is the music really good? Is it not really good? I don't know. I haven't heard your new stuff that much. I've heard the one record you did with the Jesus Over Politics. So I would say I would say figure out what you want to do. So I don't know. I can't call if you should or shouldn't keep releasing stuff. I really don't have an opinion on that. You know what I mean? I know I'm not releasing anything else that I'm not 100% like tapped into. This is what I want to do right now. Like, to the point where I don't even want to hop on features. Like, people reach out for features. I'm like, listen, don't send me anything with 120 BPM, 104. I don't want to do no more trap records. I don't want to rap to any more. I don't want to do any more, any of that, bro. I know I'm done. Like, I know my pocket. I know where I sound good. I know where I can flip the most styles. And, that's where I'm living. You know what I'm saying? So I think your manager is right, bro. And I think it's a longer play. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man. Good question. Let's see who else got a question. Y'all getting we get some folks banned in the chat. I love it. Yeah. Troll on my channel, champ. Get you banned real quick. All right. Who had their hand up? Eddie or Andrew? Who had their hand up first?
I don't know. I'll go though. If that's okay with Andrew.
Okay, let me pin you up, champ.
Well, my question kind of goes along the same line. You kind of told me about, my sound's kind of different than what's being made, and but I've also been working on some other stuff where I've been using samples. And like, do you think that's kind of I play it for my my circle, and some people they say it still it still sounds like me. It's not the guitar-y stuff though, because I'm trying to create like these two different types of sounds. Where like the stuff with the guitar is kind of real more like deeper stuff and more story and things like that. And then I have these other things where it's sample, but it's easier on the workflow. Do you think that that's like a smart idea?
I think if the samples reflect your other sound and they're royalty-free samples and you're changing them, then yeah, I think it's cool. I would definitely create royalty-free samples. You know what I mean? Make them, chop them, freak them, filter them, change the keys. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I used to be a purist, bro, and this is a thing as a producer that hit me that hurt me because I would be like, oh, I can't use loops. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I gotta punch out my drums. You have all these goofy rules that you add to yourself as a creator, and it's like, fam, some of the biggest producers use splice samples and don't touch them. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, wow, y'all that lazy. You know what I mean? But they're trying to get to the end process as quickly as possible. Now, I say change the sample, make the sample your own, filter the sample. At least change the key, the tempo, and filter it just to make it your own. But all in all, I think the biggest producers right now are using loops, using samples, using MIDI packs. Why would you not, especially if it gets you to a finished product faster? A finished product that ultimately matches your sound. So just doing records because you can and making them easy, like that's not going to do nothing for you. You know what I'm saying? But if it's taking you 10 hours to finish a beat that's all original, composed from scratch, no samples, but it takes you an hour to do something with some samples, and the vibe is the same and it creates the same energy. And again, with the caveat, you're changing it, you're making it your own, you're flipping it, right? Because you will run into content ID issues, you will run into publishing issues at some point if you're not changing stuff. It's happened to me. Change those freaking splice samples, guys. Change the key, change the BPM, filter them out. If you do that, though, whatever is most efficient. Don't give yourself arbitrary rules, because no one follows those rules, bro. No one follows those rules, right? The only producers that follow those rules, usually, not all the time, but they're usually broke and mad at the world. No one follows those rules, dog. The most successful producers are using loops. They're using splice loops all the time. They're using drum breaks all the time. No one's sitting here composing everything from scratch. If they are, they're lying to you, right? Or they're just not that successful, because now the name of the game is efficiency. It's being optimal. It's pumping stuff out. It's not, ooh, I spent 10 hours getting this kick just right. No one gives a crap. You know what I mean?
No
There's
idea.
already a right kick. Use the freaking kick that sounds good. Move on. Finish the beat. Finish the song. Put it out. Market it. Shoot the video. Next song. That's just the climate that we're in, man. Because technology has made it really easy to make music that's good enough. So now a lot more people can make music that's good enough. So then it becomes who can make music that's good enough with good enough visuals. And now the game is who can tell the story the best, who can market it the best, who can make you, who can connect with you emotionally the best. Those who can do that and can make a ton of it, those are the folks that are going to win moving forward.
Okay. Yeah, I used to be that. I used to be that guy. Like, I gotta be this. Do this, and I gotta have guitar and everything and all this stuff. And then I was just like, you had talked about this before, so I just started using samples, and I was like, this is kind of like, it's way faster and it's funner too at the same time, because you kind of get into more of the sound design and messing around with stuff. And
yeah, I used to have like a band, like the Breaks. I don't know how long you've been familiar with me, but I used to be in a group called the Breaks. The Breaks were initially a band, and we had a drummer, and I literally at one point was like, I'm gonna have live drums on everything. That's gonna be my thing. And then like we started trying to record live drums, and we're like, no, like I'm just gonna use these live drum loops. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, why would I use live drums? It makes no sense. I don't care if people don't know that that's the actual drummer playing. You know what I mean? Like, no, like we got to get music out. So, yeah, I would definitely, whatever makes you most efficient, that's what I would focus on.
All right. Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. All right, Andrew, I'm going to go to you, and then I got to get out of here in a sec. If anybody else got any questions, throw your hand up now.
Yeah,
ahead,
so mine has to do with, it loops too as it relates to Eddie. To what he was talking about. So I've been kind of sending out my own loops to different people. And actually one of the people I actually sent it to was the guy that produced the Anti-Hero track on John Keith's Tandy. I sent some stuff to him. He liked it, and so me and him been collaborating on stuff. And then I sent stuff to like Gennaro Ortiz and like different people he's connected with. And so they've been like really liking my loops. And so I'm thinking of like maybe eventually like coming out with like a sample, like a loop pack. Like when do you think would be like the good time to do that? Because I'm still trying to get myself out there more, like when it comes to collabing with people. So
yeah, you know the loop thing. I'll be honest, I'm not super hip on like how that world works, right? Because I know there's opportunity there, and I know like the guy that could come up with the right loops, who could partner with the right producer who's already popping, could really make some noise. You know what I mean? Can really kind of grow. And I've heard of these stories. I don't know enough about that world to like, sit here in front like I have all the answers about that. So I'm gonna revert back to what I would generally tell anybody right now, which is build a media company. Like build a media company, build an actual company where you're adding value to people in some way, shape, or form, and you're creating messaging to further your name and your reputation out there. The loops can become one of the things you monetize and one of the ways you collaborate with people. But I think this question is completely different if you figured out a way to grow your Instagram to 10,000 followers or 20,000 followers. I think the question becomes different. It's framed different. You know what I mean? You're thinking different, because if you had an audience, you're not dependent on as many other people to give you an opportunity. Because when you have an audience, you go create your own opportunity, right? So whether if your end goal is I want to produce for people or I want to be an artist, it changes the conversation. It changes the dynamic of the conversation. I just don't want you to be dependent on these loops. You know what I'm saying? To get you on. Like I want you to get yourself on and be friendly and reach out and connect, and be clear about the terms of those loops, because there's nothing worse than somebody reaching out offering you loops that you think you can use for free, or they're not clear and then they want 50% of the publishing. You know what I mean? So
and that's why I've been kind of picky about who I send out loops to. And so like people that I trust, so that I know.
Yeah, and here's the thing: there's a lot of producers that only take loops from people they trust, because how do they know you didn't slide a splice loop in there? You know what I'm saying? That you took and freaked and, you know what I mean, pounded off as Jonathan. That's a whole nother issue that I've heard of guys like DJ Payne 1 on his YouTube channel talk about, of like catching people putting loops in packs that they took from another big producer, right? So I think it could get very hairy and I think it could get very complicated. I think by and large, if you can create some type of digital product that passively sells, I think it's a good look. Meaning that if you have your own web store and you have this drum kit that sells or this sample pack that sells and it's royalty free or whatever it is, right? I think that's good. I think you should. But more importantly, I think you should approach this like you're trying to build an audience and build a platform, not like you're trying to get on as a producer, because that's a very weird and complicated game. You know what I mean? That like you're gonna spend more time chasing your tail and exhausting yourself than you are just, okay, boom, how do I build an audience? How do I get to 100,000 followers on Instagram? How long will that take me? What does that require? What kind of videos do I need to make? What kind of stuff do I need to put out there? Totally different conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, good question. Does that answer your question? I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah. It was clear now. So.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good. All right, guys. I got time for one more. Let's go to the homie Trey. I'm gonna cut out of here. What's up, Trey?
Yo, thanks for taking one last question. I appreciate everything you're doing.
Appreciate you, brother.
I wanted to see if you had any pointers on somebody trying to get into like the writing game where they're writing for people, or just supplying lyrics or lyrical help.
I know one good friend of mine, close friend of mine that's done some pretty big ghosts. Actually, I know two. One got placed on a huge record. I'm not going to tell you guys the name of the record, but because we're publicly live on YouTube. But one of them got placed on a big record that I think all of you guys have heard. Another one wrote for an artist that I think all of you guys have heard. The reason why both of those people got the opportunity was because they were already amazing, dope artists. They were either amazingly remarkable fire artists, and one of them had a massive audience, right? He had done other stuff and was successful. So the key with writing, in my opinion, is it's about access. It's about who allows you into the room, right? If you're popping, you're going to get more access into the rooms. These are rooms I didn't get access into because I wasn't as popping or I wasn't as good of an artist. So the artists who got the placement and all that kind of stuff, the bigger artists, I know the artists, I've been friends with the artists, I didn't get invited to that session, right? And because I'm either not as popping or I'm not as talented. It's cool. You have to either get popping and be talented, preferably both. Or you have to know somebody. Nepotism, back to nepotism. You got to know somebody, right? So if you're cousins with Kendrick Lamar, doors open for you. You know what I'm saying? If you know the homie who's in the studio with the homie who's popping, them doors are gonna open for you. But by and large, I think you gotta first get popping and show that you're a remarkable artist to get invited into the room, because you don't get to invite yourself into the room. You don't get to slide into somebody's DM and send them a bunch of reference tracks and be like, yo, you should use these, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not the way the game is set up right now. You may get some luck if you're a producer and you send something with a hook on it and you're the guy on the hook and they just leave you on the hook. That's more likely to happen as a producer. But even that, I don't click on any beats from producers, by the way, because I've been in these situations from where I'm a producer offers something and then change their mind, and then they renege, and then the arrangement is a certain way, then they ask for more. I don't do that, and I also just don't know these bozos and if they're using samples or not. So I don't play with publishing, so I don't take anything from producers at all. Like, I don't even listen because I don't even want the accusation of biting an idea. Two, if you're sending me and you're talking about you're a writer and you write hooks, there's no way I'm clicking on that. And I'm not even that popping. Like, I'm at 30,000 Instagram followers. Like, I'm not even that popping. I'm not even that lit. Imagine somebody with a couple 100,000 followers who has millions at stake. They're not clicking on a link to see, oh, let's see what this guy and what his rap sound like. Maybe I need a ghostwriter. They already have the guys around who are giving them bars. They already have the folks in the circle that are laying down reference tracks. So I think you got to get popping, bro. I mean, again, we go back to, you got to build a media company. You got to build an audience. You know what I mean?
Bet. I appreciate that, man. I plan on joining a few more of your Zoom calls so I can get popped.
Yeah, man. I mean, no, I mean, you gotta put stuff out. Like, that's how you get popular. You know what I'm saying? You gotta put stuff out, and you gotta put stuff out at a level where it's marketed and promoted. But see, at that point, if you put stuff out, you might as well just be an artist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or get to a certain level and then fall back and be an artist. Like, I think you probably feel more fulfilled that way. You know, again, caveat, unless the homie is on and he's in the city and you guys are homies, totally changes the conversation. What city are you in?
Man, I'm in Montgomery, Alabama.
I don't know. Okay, Montgomery. Is that where Rockstar JT is from? Okay, so I would figure out, are there any artists in your city that are popping?
I need to figure that out.
And then can you get in their proximity? How popping are they? Are they open to making friends? Are they open to folks coming through the studio, right? And if there's somebody from your, I think Rockstar JT is from your area. I would look him up and see, like, okay, does he need help? You're in Montgomery, Alabama. The conversation would be different if you were in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? If you were in Atlanta and you went to the same church as Lecrae, conversation changes. You could potentially, I'm gonna go intern at Reach and get people coffee, and then maybe I can put my toe in a studio session, and then maybe somebody asks me, what do you do? And then maybe I could play him something, and then, right? But it's a lot of that's gonna be about proximity. If you're in Montgomery, Alabama, you got to see who's popping from Montgomery, Alabama. You just cut out, but wait, did I lose you? Yeah, I lost you. I think you're muted. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was asking from a little bit of a lazy perspective, because I kind of rapped, kind of been rapping almost like 20 years, or writing, just doing a little hobby type stuff, and so I'm a full-time engineer now. I got wife, 2 kids, and I'm kind of like, I got a couple records. Do I want to start pushing stuff and creating full-time again, or can I slide into some circles?
Are you a recording engineer, full-time recording engineer, or full-time like civil engineer?
No, like I'm a full-time like engineer, work for a corporation as far as not recording.
Oh, okay. If I were you, I think you could, again, find somebody that's popping in your city and see if you can offer them some type of services that they need. Whether it's, hey, can I help you with your Instagram, right? Learn photography, learn video. That is a more likely way to get into somebody's circle than to just be like, yo, I write raps and I've been rapping for 20 years. Like, okay. You know what I'm saying? But if you're like, yo, can I take some photos for you? Can I help you with your Instagram? Can I help you with your YouTube? Boom. And you have that skill set is more scalable to doing to then getting your foot in the door as a writer.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Stuff.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I know that's not what you want to hear, that's
exactly what I wanted.
Okay.
That's exactly what I wanted, because I have no clue. I'm just,
Yeah, I would learn video. Or photo, or both, preferably. Andrew, did you have your hand back up, boss? No, okay. I'm gonna lower your hand. Anybody else got one more? I'm gonna do one more, and then I got to get out of here. Anybody that hasn't asked one? No. Sweet. Guys, thank you. This was fun. Hopefully YouTube found this valuable. I found it valuable. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, you can follow me on the gram, of course. I always respond to Instagram messages. Hit subscribe, hit the like button, all that good stuff. Appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate the Patreon community, man. So we just tried something different, tried to go public with this live stream. Hopefully it was valuable. And yeah, like this video, man. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. All right, peace.